Hello and welcome back to LTC Heroes Live by Experience Care. I am at Delaware Healthcare Convention in Wilmington, Delaware, and I'm talking today to Leslie Johnson. She's the administrator at Foulk Living. Leslie, welcome to the program.
Hi.
Leslie, I'm excited to talk to you because before we hit record and went live, we started talking about your leadership style. I usually start off by talking about your initiation story and how you got into it, but I know you're passionate about leadership. So tell me a little bit, how would your peers define you as a leader?
I would say that I'm very caring, I'm very hands-on, very dedicated. Whatever they need, make it happen. I lead by example. I'm very easy to talk to. The open door policy, for all levels, all my frontline and my managers. I think, we work off each other's thoughts, to figure out the best solutions to, correct things or to achieve things. Just an easy person to talk to. And
I'm interested in kind of the nature versus nurture. Who are some mentors of yours, and they could be in long-term care or outside of long-term care, who has influenced and made you a great leader who you are today?
I would say, I've worked with a few different regional directors of operation. They all have different leadership styles. The best ones were the ones who, when I asked, I always tell my staff, don't be afraid to ask questions, express interest in different things that you want to do and your growth and so forth with the community. I'll always remember how I got into even finding out about the AIT program. I was tearing dietary tickets, meal tickets, in our clinical room, and the vice president of clinical services was down there. And I was like, hey, I really want to grow with the company. There's only one regional dietitian, so, I know she's not going anywhere anytime soon. And, but I want to be able to make a bigger difference and bigger impact. And she had told me about the AIT program. And she was like, I'll let, Bob, my administrator at the time, know. And so before I even got upstairs, he was like, hey, I heard that you're interested in the AIT program. And then, they got it approved for me to do my AIT while I was a dietitian at one of my centers, Manor Care. And it just, started from there. And, it's funny because when I finished my program, the same lady was in the office with the administrator, and I was like, hey, I'm getting ready to be done my AIT program. And I was like, she's like, are you looking anywhere? And I had happened to look at a facility in Alexandria, Virginia, and said that. And she was like, oh, well, I can get you, an interview with the regional over there. And it just, if I hadn't said hi that day and told her I was done, that opportunity might not have, opened for me. And initially, they thought I was just ready. I interviewed, and they're like, you'll be perfect to be the assistant at our Arlington location in Virginia. And they ended up, unfortunately, someone passed away that was supposed to be over at Alexandria. They moved me. They called me a couple weeks early, had me come to Virginia, and they're like, we're going to put you in the Alexandria location where I initially applied for. And I ended up, proving myself after like the 10 months. We got a deficiency-free survey, built the team, flipped that building, and they offered me a position. So I never was the assistant. I kind of was like, here's your building, figure it out. And that started my career. And, just asking questions, I've met a lot of different leaders along the way who've been very supportive. So it's very lucky.
I love the story. It's the first time I've started off an interview with someone so young who got thrown into a leadership position. I can tell that you're very confident, and it exudes, and your team must pick up on that. When you decided to approach your leadership and say, I'm interested in the AIT, do you remember, was there anything you were a little bit nervous of? Was it either supervising? Was it clinical? Was it the business side? Was it compliance side? Was there anything you're like, oh, I'm a little bit nervous, and now you know that you've nailed it?
I think the hardest part initially was, going from being just a dietitian and being, a manager in one department to like overseeing all the departments and having to like break away from focusing on that one, department, and then thinking as a leader and asking more open-ended questions and, learning how to empower the other managers, and a big thing I get a lot, I look young, because I am young younger, and a lot of people are like, you get family members coming in, they look at, they're like, you're not what I expected to, be seeing. But I was like, but I can assure you I'm very good at what I do. And that, it's just, I think that was just having to overcome that. And then like learning how to also speak in front of people, being that leader that they need and vocalizing that. I can talk to anyone, but then talking to a team and having them, empower them and listen to you, and not, you have to realize everyone's a person. Everyone has those fears and anxieties about talking in front of people and having them listen to you and understand you. And, I just fought through it,
I want to follow up on your leadership style and kind of how you got turned into kind of a turnaround administrator. And I'm wondering how you move from places that are struggling with deficiencies, that are struggling with agency, and how you start to bring in young people who understand that it's a family, that it's a community, and they're making a difference. Can you give me any insight in how you recruit that younger generation? You probably heard me today talk about how we can find the younger people on LinkedIn. How do you talk to them? How do you empower them?
I tell them exactly, I share with them what we're doing in our community. And, a big thing when I first got to this community in July with Life Care Services over at Foulk Living, what I noticed, we had great energy there, right? Very positive energy from the staff. They're a very good team. But there was a lack of employee appreciation activities going on. And I immediately, started celebrating birthdays. We would sign cards, all of us managers, and give them cards. And I'd go up and sing to each employee. And, the little things like that, starting the employee of the month, and then staff appreciation and doing activities that included the staff and the residents, and it creating like that bond between them and creating that family. And then when I, speak to other employees that are applying and are interested, I just share exactly what we do, that I love talking about it because, we practice what we're preaching, like what we're talking to them about. And, that you have an opportunity to make a true difference, in people's lives and, be part of a family and also grow. Life Care Services makes that happen. They really help their employees grow, and they give you the resource that you need to, do the activities and fun things and, get what you need for them.
In terms of kind of turning around a facility, there's, sometimes 15 different variables to start off with, right? You have culture,
Yes.
You have SOPs, you have processes, you have QAPI, you have relationships, you have census problems, you got probably infrastructure problems, budget problems. Can you give an example of what excites you? What are one or two variables when you walk in and you start to do your analysis, your diagnosis? What excites you? One of the two things, like, I love doing this.
With every community I've gone into, the first thing I always do is get out on the floor. Get to meet the staff, get to know the staff. I make it a priority to get to know their names right away, and that makes a huge difference in things. They really appreciate that. After time of being there, and then that's one of the things they've always said. You came out, you got to know us. You weren't just another person here. You got to know our names. You got to know what we needed, what we're interested in, how we can help. So I always start by doing that, getting to know the residents and visiting with them, because it's very important to that. Just being on the floor, hands-on, and then evaluating what needs to come first.
You talked indirectly about the intangibles of this industry and why working in a community is unique. I know you've spent, because you're young, but you've spent a good part of your professional career in long-term care. What would you say are the intangibles that keep you here and make you happiest here, and that we could use if there's a young person out there who's going to hear that and oh, I want the same thing as Leslie? What are those intangibles that you have here?
This industry allows you to help people, and not just, the residents that we care for, but, the staff. Just, you get to make a difference in people's lives. And that's what I love to do. I love to, see their faces and, their reactions and their growth and, the changes as they're being implemented and putting in place. And then, as and it's just so rewarding to help others grow. Because one of the things I do share a lot with the newer employees, my story from me starting as a dietary aide, and then because a lot of people are like, wait, you were a dietary aide and now you're like our boss? And I'm like, yeah, I was like, don't be afraid to ask questions, express interest, and it's just hard work pays off. You work hard, you ask questions, you care and show interest, and that inspires them a lot. So.
What I like about that example is there's not a lot of people who realize that long-term care is a space for you to climb the ladder, and you climb the ladder in a very unique way.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we start to wrap things up, Leslie, I guess I wanna ask you in terms of recruitment. How do you go about explaining the values of your organization when you have a young person who's coming in, whether it be an AIT or it be a new CNA? How do you talk them into explaining that, hey, come work here, this place is different?
We have great support from our leadership staff. We have great benefits, which we're very lucky to. But also, I tell them, you'll be a part of a team. We're a family. And we are a family, and that's the difference. And you can have a team, but having that family that all works together, that truly cares about what they do. The team at Foulk Living is a different kind of team, and you can see how truly passionate they are about what they do and working with the residents, and the bond that they've had with families, in our community for years. We have staff that have been in our community, worked for 30 plus years. We have some CNAs, caregivers, nurses, and, letting the other employees that other people that are interested in coming to work with you, know about our longevity and, the positive energy. And we give that positive energy off when you come into our building. When people walk in, you can feel a positive environment, and that's what staff want to work in. And that's what they're looking for. They want to be appreciated.
Lastly, before we wrap up, I'm going to ask you to shout out somebody, one or two people on your team that you're proud of, that you learn from, and that that they get your company cultural values. And just so your team knows, I'm going to only let you say one or two names. We can't go through everyone. So anyone who feels left out, who do you feel is kind of the epitome of great long-term care?
We have one nurse, Letitia, who's actually was recently voted our Associate of the Month award. Received that. She just goes above and beyond in every area. She helps out with housekeeping. She helps out with passing trays. All those little things. She knows every little thing about every resident she cares for to make provide them that personalized experience. And she'll pick up shifts when we're struggling. She'll do doubles. I mean, she's amazing. And we also have very amazing leadership directors in our nursing department. Our director of nursing and our assistant director of nursing, Tyrus, and our director of nursing, Janet, are wonderful clinical leaders, and we're very lucky to have them.
Well, Leslie, thanks for joining me on LTC Heroes. It's a pleasure to meet you here.
Yes,
and
it's a pleasure.
Letitia, right?
Letitia,
if you want to come on LTC Heroes, we want leaders like you on here.
Yes, we got to get hers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.